Okay, today is setup day. So we're gonna get this thing dialed in. Day one of setup day. So we've got the nose plumb off the car. And on this car we measure ride heights because everything's set on the ride height. It's pretty important that you do that. If you can see this square stock, we measure from this to this. Problem, our chassis manufacturer sets these up with stock lowers. This is a 68 to 72 Chevelle stub, and they use stock lower control arms. Well, we run a little bit beefier set from Kaiser, and everything here is a little different. So your ride height measurement is going to be off. So what we're going to do, this bolt right here, it's actually the front bolt on the lower control arm. We're going to go from there to the ground and get a common point, which is going to be 8 inches on both sides. That's going to get us real close to the ballpark of where we need to be. You know, once we get everything close, the top of this A-arm, you can pull an angle off this. And our guy that builds the cars is going to get that number for me. And then we'll get it completely fine-tuned. Like I said, day one chassis setup. So everything's from scratch. You watch us put new spindles on. We also put new springs on. So everything's off. Because in order to do all that, we had to take this nut loose and run this threaded rod up to get the pressure off the springs to take the spindles apart. So we're close, but we need a little of adjustment. So that's what we're going to do. So we got old Brian sitting in the car because we do all of these measurements with the driver in the car. Basically all the stuff we do is we scale, do all of our numbers with our driver, which is me, in the car. Well, luckily him and I are real close to the same weight, so it makes it kind of easy. So we're going to take this stud here. We actually have to raise the ride height on this side, so we're going to screw it in, which is going to put more pressure on the spring and raise her up. Alright, so on this, it's real tough to see, but we're really close to 8 inches. It's a little bit high. That's straight from the ground up to that lower control arm bolt. So that's what we were shooting for, and that's going to get us in the ballpark. Alright, this program is brought to you by another cool tool alert. Still not a commercial, and I'm not getting paid for this. But I want to show you guys, these are pretty cool. I'm actually borrowing them from my brother-in-law, so shout out to Gary Gross Waterproofing. So what we got is, these are Hammond Motorsports setup plates. And he seems to like them just as much as I do. These bolt onto your hubs in place of your tires and wheels. This is the front, so it's got bearings on it. It'll actually let your, there's no bind involved. And you can do all your setup off of these plates. The backs, the bearings are going this way. But anyway, it just lets you get the tire and wheel out of the way where you can do all your setup without, in the back, that's a neat deal to have your tire out of the way. You can crawl around, you can measure all your bar angles. Guys that dirt race with me, you know what I'm talking about on that. We'll get more into that later, but just wanted to show you that's a pretty cool deal. You get 4 of these plates from Hammond Motorsports. I believe he's the only guy that makes them. So check this out, guys. This is the first time my car's ever been on something like this, but you can see by, look back here. That thing is setting all these bars. They're extremely important on our setup. And everything you got is where it's gonna be when the tire's there. Could you picture trying to do that? I've done it a lot, and you have to crawl around. So all this stuff's made way easier by using these plates. Okay, now we got our angle gauge on here. This is the left front. In a dirt track setup, we run specific amounts of camber and caster, but we'll just deal with camber right now. On our left front, we always run positive, which means if you're looking at the tire, it's tilted to the right, basically. It would have positive camber in it. So in our previous video, we were checking the spindles, the correlation of these ball joints. And if you remember, on that tool, that shaft needed to run straight through there. On our first one we checked, it was off by quite a lot. So these are true brand new spindles that are, I mean, they check out on our spindle checker. So that's how far off we really were. That's 4.7 degrees. Now let's check the other side. And none of this stuff's top secret. I mean, everybody runs what they want to run, so on and so forth. I run pretty much what my manufacturer calls for. This side calls for 5. So we're at 7, 6.9. So we were 2 degrees off here. So it just shows you how important everything is. And like I said, using these plates and checking it this way, you can also go off your rotor and just take that measurement away from 90 degrees. So that would be 6.6. It's pretty close. So we have some adjusting to do on these. That's the right way. Right there. Well, maybe just a fuzz. Just a baby bit. That's enough. That's close enough for me. Now it's right on the money, 83. So we take this, it's just a big magnet, and set it on there. And what we do here is we turn the wheels. So it's a half of a rotation, a half of a full turn to the right. So he gets that done. What I do is I come down here and put that little bubble level. Okay, that's done. As long as it's in the lines, it's fine. Let's get that. So there's that. Then we take our caster bubble, which is right here, and we get that to read 0, which is right there. And then he turns up a full turn from where he just left. And he's going to be at 7 degrees of caster, which is way too much. What is it over there? Let's go look at the wall. The refrigerator notes. Now these are top secret notes, so I'm just going to let you look down here while I look. Okay, well, this stuff here is not top secret. And I'm just messing with you, none of it's top secret, but let's see. Where are we at? Here we go. Right front, 5 degrees negative camber, 5 degrees positive caster. 4 and 2 on the left. Somebody stepped on a duck over there. So 5, we're at 7, so we're 2 degrees off. And that's just all from that old spindle that was bent. So we're going to do a little adjusting on it. And we will do that adjustment, guys, I promise you. That's going to be on the next episode here on the OldNo.7 Garage. Stay tuned. I hope you guys like what you are seeing. I'm just trying to teach you a little bit about what I know. And maybe you guys can drop a comment down below and teach me a little bit too. You see something I'm doing that could be done easier, or if it's not done right, holler at me. Just let me know. Nobody's perfect, right? All right, so stay tuned to the next episode, and we will see you next time. Oh, and if you think about it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and have a good one, y'all.